Now you see this 1.113 there, that 13, if you go to 1.1 in your book and go to number 13, it's going to look like, okay, Oconee Hall, are you there? There's 4 people that's supposed to be there. Let me move the meeting and bring them back in. All right. You see that 13 up there? That 13 is like number 13 in your book. So if you go to number 13 in 1.1.
Can you just hand me now?
What? I like the way Pendleton's set up. Whoever set Pendleton up that way, I like that because I can see all of y'all. There's Oconee Hall. I'm sorry,
Hey.
Oconee campus. The losers are here. Okay. So, as you see number 13, that's like number 13 in the book right there. And then you got number 5 down here. Number 5 is like online number 5. Everybody's number 5 question. So let's look at 1.1.
We can't see like what you're presenting. We see what she had on the board from last class.
That everything's free?
Yeah.
All right, I'm sending you, does it pop up that you need to accept? I just sent it again.
Content.
It's not coming up?
Did I press accept meeting content?
Yes. And then you need to maximize it so it covers up the whole whiteboard or as much as possible, big as possible. See, that whiteboard needs to be on. Somebody turn the whiteboard on. Can somebody get the white remote and turn the whiteboard on?
I think you just turned it on.
I just turned it on.
Okay. Drag my screen over to the whiteboard so all of you can see that it's a little bit bigger. That's why. And this type is so small that it helps y'all to have it on a bigger screen. I think they turned all the desks to where you can see the screen better, correct?
It is.
Okay. So go ahead and maximize that and it should be good to go.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Oh my gosh, I said yes, ma'am. You're not supposed to say that. Y'all seen that on the news?
Hey,
That a student got fussed at for saying yes, ma'am? Huh. Save the straws. Get rid of the straws. Save the world. All right, so does the table below define a function of x? Well, first of all, what do you do to see this function? Well, you can either plot it on your graph paper. So what you need to do is draw a x and y axis and plot those points. Do that right quick. Because we're going to go in what constitutes a function. Okay? So plot those points. I don't care about what else they're asking. We're going to go ahead and plot those points. Now I'm going to go and I'm going to open it up in Excel. Then I'm going to hit that little button right there. Go to Excel. Then I'll graph, and it'll graph the function. That one thing. There's the function, and I'm going to highlight both sides. Then I'll insert graph, and you can do it. Do whatever you want. Do one of these right here, and there is the function. Isn't that nice? Y'all are impressed, aren't you? I figured y'all were. So there is the function. What is the domain of this function? -1 and 3. Take your handy dandy highlighter. And your domain is -1 to 3. Is it inclusive of -1 and 3? Yes or no? You got a 50-50 shot. Yes, because what do you have? You have closed what? Closed dots. If they were open, then they would be non-inclusive. They would be parentheses. So our domain, take our handy-dandy marker, and -1, 2, what'd you say, 3? That's our domain. Range is going to be the y-axis. So that's going to be, oh, I can't get this to work. I can't get it to work. 4 to what?
8.
4 to 8, -4 to 8. So your range is -4 to +8. Inclusive because you have closed circles on the end. Now, let's talk about decreasing and increasing values. Decreasing and increasing values are basically, I'm going to try something here. Let's see if this will work. I need to draw a plane. Dang old jet. And I'm going to take my handy dandy cursor and we're, you old devil. Russians. It's a daggone Russian. Let me take my handy dandy.
Oh my God.
That's not going to work either. So let me go over here.
All our screens just froze.
Okay, well then y'all just SOL. I guess I am sorry. Okay, all of them froze?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I will take you out and bring you back in, okay?
All right.
Is that Pendleton or Easley?
Easily.
Easley? Okay.
Yeah.
Remove from me, now bring you back in. No, I'm supposed to have a fit. That's what I'm supposed to do. Sure. That's what one teacher did, wrote an email. What am I frozen up? I don't know what to do. Well, if you don't know what to do if something freezes up, then you shouldn't be teaching class. What's the number one thing you do if a computer freezes up? Reboot it. Okay? Simple. In this case, if it freezes up, the first thing you do is take the class out and bring it back in. It's not rocket science. Then if it don't work, then that class needs to reboot the computer. And that'll take an hour probably. Come on, Easley. You can do it.
Hey.
We're back.
We're back. I'll be back. Okay, is everything working and easily better now?
Yeah.
Make sure that the presentation screen is on the other monitor. There you go. All right, so I'm going to take my handy-dandy plane. And which way do we read? Unless you're from Middle East, Masalama. We read from left to right. So my plane is doing what?
A downward spiral.
Let's do it again because some of y'all are not answering my question. Hit on the bull. What's it doing?
Going down.
Going down for the two people that answered. Okay? Going down. So that means that my values are decreasing what? From left to right. Okay, decreasing values are only written in terms of x. Write that down. Decreasing values, increasing and decreasing values are only in terms of x. So increasing and decreasing values are going to follow along the same lines as the domain. Okay, so here we got the domain. We've got the range. And my increasing values, I don't have any. My decreasing values are from -1 to 3. Is that going to happen all the time to match the domain? No, it is not. And these are decreasing values. No sneezing in class. Okay? So let's take that plane again so you can see And a lot of people say, well, Hubert, why aren't you using the y-axis? Excuse me, but what is the y-axis telling you? I'm decreasing. If I was increasing, the y-axis would be increasing. You see what I'm saying? So if I'm asking for decreasing values or increasing values, I'm looking and seeing if it's going downhill or if it's going uphill. And where is it going downhill and where is it going uphill? Well, in this case, it's going downhill from negative, whatever, negative 1 to what? Positive 3. So always put your plane on the left-hand side of the graph and follow the graph with the plane, and the plane will tell you what's going to happen, where it's increasing and decreasing. Now, what's the question asking? I have no earthly idea. I'm just telling you about this graph. And if that's what you should be able to do with every graph that you graph. If you can do the domain, the range, and the increasing and decreasing values, you're doing good in chapter 1 or section 1, whatever. Now, let's highlight the range. Why am I going to highlight the range? I'm going to highlight it in green. The range is the only part of this question that's in what? That's in terms of what? Write that down. The range is the only part of the problem that's in terms of y. Because when I ask for increasing and decreasing, what do? Y'all put in terms of y, and that's not right. The only thing that's in terms of y is the range. Everything else is in terms of x. You'd be surprised at how many people do that. So, write those answers down and let's go back and look at the question. Oh my gosh, I can't go back. I don't know how to go back. So, what's it asking? Select the correct choice. Okay, is this a function? So let me pull it back up because I didn't answer the question. Pull it back up, go to my handy dandy Excel. There we go. Vertical line test. Write down the vertical line test. Vertical line test. I'm going to take my handy dandy line maker and I'm going to draw a red line and I'm just going to draw it right there. Now you can move that red line anywhere you want to. If it crosses just one time, that means it is a what? It is a function. Write that down. One time, it is a function. More than one time, it is what? Not a function. That's called the vertical line test. Now, how can you tell if you don't have a graph? Well, first of all, anytime you have a function, graph it. Okay? Or anytime you have points, graph it. Because you can tell a whole lot more with a graph than you can by just looking at a bunch of numbers. But, in this case, anything that has one x and two what? Is not a function. Because you can see that with a circle or a hyperbola. Anything that has one x and two y's, write that down. One x and two y's, or three y's, or four y's. That's what they're trying to show you when they give you those two bubbles that has numbers in them and they got the arrows going over, which totally confuses students. The best way to explain non-function is to draw a circle and a hyperbola just like that and show that wherever there's an x, there's two what? There's two y's. If you have two y's, it is not a function with the same x. So here, I have, on the circle, I have, let's call this 2.5, 2.5, comma, 4.25. And then at 2.5 down here, I have, comma, negative 4.25. That'll never happen again. Let me draw it exactly like that. So this x, I have two y's. And that is not a function. So it's always good. Yeah, those are the things right there that confuse people. So don't just ignore them. Those circles that have the numbers in them, they're worthless because people don't understand them. They understand this though. So anything that looks like a circle or a semicircle or a C, it's not going to work. Ovals, ellipses, hyperbolas, all those are non-functions. So now we can go back to the dang old question. Is this a function? Yes. And the domain is -1 to 3. And the range is -4 to 8. Probably don't like those. Probably wants brackets. Does it want brackets? Probably don't like those braces. Yeah. You need to put dang old brackets here. Well, whatever. Okay, they want the points. Not a big deal. I'll take either. I don't really care about that. If you write all the points, that's fine. Or if you give me from -1 to 3, I'll take that. But what they're saying is let me show you what they're saying. And it is kind of a play on words or play on a graph. But what they're saying is, did they give you points or did they give you a function? They gave us points. So technically, I drew the wrong thing. I need to go back up. Let's see if I can go back up and change it to a insert. I bet it won't let me, but I'll try it. And instead of putting a line on it, I need to put dots. Here we go. Now, in this case, you have to put the dots because there is no line between this point and this point. You see what I'm saying? Technically, they're saying, okay, I'm not giving you a line, I'm just giving you points. So I was wrong in saying, technically I was wrong, but I'm not gonna, to me, that's splitting hairs, and I don't think we need to be splitting hairs, but anyway, we'll go to the next problem. Hopefully that helps. If not, we'll do another problem if that doesn't help. Any questions on that one? Okay, let's go to the next question. Next question is 1.149/15. 1.149/15. All right, let's look at that. A couple wants to buy a $38,000 car and can borrow the money for the purchase at 8%, paying it off in 3, 4, 5 years. That's this right here, probably. The table to the right gives the monthly payment and total cost, monthly payment and total cost, blah, blah, blah. Suppose that when the payment is over 2 years, represents the monthly payment, represents the cost. Use this information in parts, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to put it to an Excel spreadsheet. So I'm going to hit this button right there. Well, thought I was. Go away. Now, that's supposed to work. Maybe it's because it's on the right side. Let me hit it with the mouse. There it goes. It's just over to the right. When these things get, when the whiteboard, when you get too close to the right or left edge, it kind of goes screwy on you. Okay, so hit enable editing, and you can see what it looks like and I'm probably not doing what they want to do, but I want to look and see what it looks like. Insert, and see if it gives us some kind of a graph. No, not really. Doesn't give us much of a graph. So we have to look at the question and see what it's asking for. Find P of 5. Yeah, they want you to, yeah, we're going to graph, let's see. Suppose that when the payment is over T years, P of T represents the monthly payment, C of T represents the total cost of the car loan. Use this information in parts A through D. Find P of 5 and write the sentence that explains, select the code. Okay, so if the car is financed over 5 years, then P of 5
The monthly.
I'm a little bit confused what the question's asking.
It wants the monthly payment for 5 years. So it's like 770.51.
Well, the monthly payment for 5,
Yeah, that would be the answer.
they got it. Hold on. That don't, something don't look right. I know what they're wanting. I hate that button. I don't know who put that button on there at Microsoft, but I hate that button. Enable editing. Well, if you're pulling it up, what do you want to do to it? Anyway. Oh, I just want to sit here and look at it. Okay, well, it looks like to me that the payment at 5 is 770.51. Or am I reading it wrong? I might be reading the question wrong. Maybe that's it.
I think they try to make that question sound easy.
They're doing a good job. Let me go back and see if I'm right, because that could be a wrong answer that somebody typed in. 770.51. Okay, it's not letting me type 770.51.
It wouldn't let me that.
It won't let me type in anything. If the car's financed, the cost of B. Can I not type in 770? There we go. It finally decided to work. 770.51. Okay, I guess you're supposed to draw it and see where 770. I don't understand this question. Let's go ahead and answer the second part. I'm confused. What is the total cost of the purchase if it's financed over 5 years? Well, that would be 46,230.60, would it not? So that would be cost 46,230.60. 46,230.60. Unless you live in Bernie's world, and then it would be 0. What is T if C of T is equal to 42? Oh God, this is ridiculous. All right, let me show you what they're doing. Go back to pre-algebra. Let's go back to pre-algebra. All right, y'all remember this graph right here? That, you know, if you put in an X, you're going to get a Y. Okay, does everybody remember that? And you plug in negative, let's give you a function. They don't give you a function, they just give you the points. All right, I'm going to give you -2 is 4, -1 is 1, 0 is 0, 1 is 1, and 2 is 4. Okay? Now, I can ask you when X is equal to -2, what is Y? 4. And then if I say, what if I give you F of 2? What is F of 2? Positive 4. So I can rewrite it like that. What if I give you this? F of X is equal to 4.
2.
Or 2 or -2. So F of X is equal, that would be F of +2 and F of -2. Now, what are they asking you to do here? What am I asking you to do right here? I'm asking you to read the what? The chart. And in some form, like you said, in some form, they're asking you to say the same thing, but they're doing it in a way that would confuse anybody, even me. Okay? So, where do you see 42,868? You see it right here, so they're wanting either this number or they're wanting that number, depending on what they're asking. Okay? This is a private. Would I put this on the test? Hell to the no. I would not put this on the test. Why? Because it is so simple that it's what? It's confusing. And to put on top of that, it's not only simple but confusing. They've even made it more confusing by the wording. Okay? So I guess T would equal what? 3? That's basically what they're asking. I don't go for complicated. Anybody that's had me for math knows that I don't go for complicated. Nobody's going to word a question like this in the real world. They're not going to say, what is the total cost of the purchase of the finance over 5 years, right? Nobody's going to ask you that. I hate to see D. How much will a couple save if they finance the car for 4 years rather than 5 years? So you take this number and you subtract this number. Somebody do that for me, please. Just give me the numbers, a point, and two numbers. Say 1,000 or 1111.02 or whatever it comes out to be.
1,701.
Is that it? Okay, whoever sent this one, don't feel pregnant, all right? Because this is a confusing problem, okay? Would I put this on a test? No, I would not put it on a test. Does everybody see why it's confusing? The wording is confusing, but the concept is not. The concept is not confusing at all. The concept is very pre-algebra right here. If I took this problem and just cut all of this stuff out right here and put at 3 years, what are you paying for the car? At 5 years, what are you paying for the car? That's a prime example of an administrator and a bureaucrat writing a question. Now, I hope you understand it, but it's not. Don't feel like you're stupid if you sent this question in, because it is not a good question. But it comes from this book, because when it's got that business econ right there, that means the person that wrote this book wrote this, so it's going to suck. Okay. Next question. Let me get all this junk out of the way. Homework. 1.1, this is like number 61 in the book. It's another business econ question, so there's no telling what it's asking. Probably the addresses of the people that attended Wimbledon last year. Number 19. An electric utility company determines the monthly bill by charging 79.6 cents per kilowatt hour. Used plus a charge of 19.5. That's what this right here is. Okay? Thus, the monthly charge is given by the function, and I'll write this down for those that can't see it. F of W, or W, depending on where you're from. If you're from around here, it's W. D-U-B-Y-A. Okay? Clemson, 0.769 W, 0.769 W, plus 19.15. People from Pendleton, they from Pendleton. People that are not from Pendleton are from Pendleton. Where do you live? I'm from Pendleton, South Carolina. Y'all know what I'm talking about. People that are from Pendleton know what I'm talking about. Pendleton is Pennleton. Pendleton. It's not Pendleton. Williamston. I'm from Williamston, South Carolina. You're a transplant. Leave. All right. Find F of 7,000. Now, I'm kidding. I'm kidding, okay? For those snowflakes and buttercups that need a prayer closet. All right. What does F of 7,000 mean? What does it mean when I give you, a while ago, F of 2? I told you that means plug and what? Plug and chug. So if I gave you F of 2, you would take 2, and what would you do? So what are you going to do with 7,000? Plug and chug. Do that. If you can't do it, just chalk it up as being a failure in life. And you should probably quit school, steal a box, and live in a ditch. Somebody's going to call my department head and say that I said they're a loser. And she's going to, guess what she's going to say? That's normal. It's called, y'all know what it's called? It's called a sense of what?
Humor.
Humor. Yeah, it's called a sense of humor. You know, you need to develop that so you won't be offended every 5 seconds. I'm 51 years old and I've never been offended. Never. People talk about my mama. They don't know my mama. People have talked about drunk Irish. And that, to me, I'm an American. I'm not an Irishman. So I'm not offended by anything. So, 0.769 times 5,000 or 7,000 plus 19.15. They should quit making gummy worms. What for gummy worms? I wouldn't be eating sugar right now.
Now we're going.
I need to replenish my sugar because I sat through an economics class. All right, somebody tell me what you get. ... What do you get?
I got
Okay. Pendleton, Easley, and Oconee. Did y'all get that? Hey, nobody's going to talk to me. Can somebody confirm that? I need a second person to say, yeah, I got that.
Yeah.
We got it. All right, now they said something. Okay, so type that in. I don't know what, let's see, F of, okay, hold on a second. Electric, they've even made this confusing. All they got to need to say is what's the damn answer instead of like, I hate this book. I hate it. God, I hate this book. Actually, y'all are going to benefit. Those of you taking 130 next semester, y'all going to benefit because I complain so much about the present 109 and 130 that they're changing the 130 and the 230 book. I've complained about this one too, but they hadn't changed it yet. So I complained and I complained. So which one is it, A or B? Huh? Let's say B. I have no idea. 5402.15, 5204.15, and that is.
Can you put the same numbers on it?
Yeah, it's stupid.
Yeah. I did that.
5402.15. Oh my gosh.
That's what I'm
You need to see me after class and I'll fix it.
Okay.
All right, now this brings up a good thing. What's your last name?
Floyd.
Huh?
Floyd.
Miss Floyd. Who's your daddy? Okay. I had a bus driver named Floyd. That's why I wondered. Okay. This brings up a good question. What happens if you do this and you come up with this? Well, there's two options. One is if you're extremely lazy, you come to me and I'll fix it. Or you can hit OK and hit similar what? Similar question and put the comma in. Okay? I don't care which one. I'll fix yours after class. I'll give you the points and that way you won't have to. Okay? Is this a good question? It is a good question right here. It is a good question right there. Okay, for the A part, that is a good question. That part right there. After that line and explain what it means, that's ridiculous because I'm sorry, if you are getting a bill and it says that you have 7,000 kilowatt hours, you're going to have to pay what? You're not going to pay in dingoes. You're not going to pay in bitcoins. You're going to pay in daggum what? Dollars. The economy works like this. You give somebody money, they give you something. All right? The electric company can only give you what? Electricity, and it's measured in kilowatt hours. You give them money. This is ridiculous. That right there is ridiculous. And then on top of it, you type in the right answer and they mark it wrong because you didn't put a comma in. Okay, I hate this book.
And on your answer, the first part, you put 5204 and it's 5402.
Well, that's because I'm dyslexic or whatever it's called. I'm dyslexic. I take medicine for it, but it don't work. The monthly charge is, oh my God.
You just plug 1500 and they'll give you the same equation.
Yeah. Somebody give me that number. What's 1500 plug and chug? And make sure you put that comma in and don't use straws. Half the people don't even understand what I'm talking about. I'm sorry, what?
1,170.
I'm not going to type in dadgum comma, then go jump into what? Oh my gosh! Now you don't have to type in a comma. Okay. Whatever. There are some questions, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you this. There are some questions to where you will put in the right answer, and it will mark it wrong. And you will try to figure out, you type in 1172.65, and it'll mark it wrong. And there's no other way to mark, even if you put a comma in, it'll mark it wrong. When you get one of those, just let me know. And if I get enough complaints about a question, I'll either take it out or I'll give everybody points for it across the blanket. I'll blanket give you points for it. Everybody understand? Squeaky door gets what? If you don't tell me, I won't know about it. Oil. Oil. Spoil. Clams on. 1.167/21. Suppose that the cost in dollars of removing P% of the particulate pollution, straws, from the smokestacks of power plant is given by blah, 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 blah. Use the fact that the percent is measured between 0 and 100 and find the domain of this function. They want you to plug in 0 and 100.
That's 0 to 100.
Okay? and evaluate at 80 and 50. So they're wanting you to plug in 0 to 100. Well, 0 to 100 is the domain. And now they're wanting you to plug in, that's a redundant question. If you can only plug in 0 to 100, what is your domain?
0 to 100.
0 to 100. And evaluate, you're going to plug in 80 and you're going to plug in what? 50. It's kind of when you go back to the pre-algebra plot I showed you. Excuse me. Remember when I showed you this and I said that the only thing you can use, the only numbers you know in this universe are -2 to 2. You can't use 4, you can't use -5, you can't use any of those numbers. You can only use those 5 numbers in your universe. All right? They're saying right here that the only numbers you can use, where'd the question go? Oh, right here. This says, I want you to write out to the side of this, the only numbers you can use is 0 to what? So when they're saying that statement right there, they're basically saying, okay, I'm going to erase this plot right here, and I'm going to put 0, that didn't work, right? Dot, 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 to 100. So my domain is 100. I thought they were asking for the range. Well, how would you find the range? Well, you would plug in 0, and you would get a number here, and then you'd plug in 100, and you'd get a number here, and that would be your what? Your range, because the range is dependent upon the what? The domain. The ice cubes are dependent upon the water. Or, I'm sorry, the Kool-Aid. Drink that Kool-Aid. Go to economics class and drink that Kool-Aid. Now, between, does that mean that 0 and 100 are inclusive?
100.
Between 0 and 100. Somebody tell me why I cannot use 100. The answer is E, as in echo. Okay, that means I want y'all to interact with me when I asked that question. The answer is echo. Why? I heard them be equal.
Between 0 and 100.
Why can't I use 100? I think you were on the right track, but you kind of, the secureness went out of your answer when you went, blah, 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 blah.
It says between 0 and 100, so it can't be 100 if it's between 0 and 100.
Well, same thing with 0. It said between 0 and 100, but you don't have you have one or the other. Why did it include the 0 but not the 100? Because if you go with that argument, if you go with between, then you can't use F either.
Right.
So why did I pick echo? 100 on the formula, there'll be 0, so then it'd be the answer.
No, the answer would be undefined. 0 cannot be in the denominator. Good job, both of y'all. Okay, write that down. 0 cannot be in the denominator. So if you plug in 100, what would happen? It would blow up. Okay? And I know blow up is a term that some of y'all just, cry closet, okay? But blow up is a term that's used in mathematics, okay?
Right.
When you plug 0 into a function and the function is a fraction or a rational expression, if you get 0 in the denominator, the function blows up. What does it give you in the calculator when you put 1 over 0? It gives you an error. You're supposed to say error. You're not supposed to say error. Error, yeah. Clemson. Okay? Can't be a dumb Southern racist. You got to say the word right. Can't say, you got to say Clemson. All right, so the answer is E. Now, the second part of the question. Plug and chug. Now, let me re-emphasize something here. Is this a question that will get you on my test and will get you on standardized test? When you've got a fraction, yes, it will get you every single time. So this is a good question, not only for my class, but it is a good question for standardized tests. So you need to remember, always look at the question, because domain is affected with radicals and what? Fractions. Because you can't have what under that's an even square root or a fourth root. Let's go with even. Okay? Can't have a what under an even radical. You can't have a negative under an even radical. And you can't have what in the denominator. You can't have 0 in the denominator. So whenever you have a fraction, and when you see a fraction like this, and they're asking about domain and range, it will get you. And I would be willing to bet you, if I put this on a test yesterday, half of y'all would miss this question because y'all would pick that one. Okay? You would not say, okay, well, 100 minus 100 will give you 0 in the denominator, so we cannot use 100. Half of you wouldn't say that. You would just answer either E or F. Okay? So we plug in 80. Somebody give me, when you plug in 80, you get 238,000 times 80 divided by 20. And somebody give me that number. And let's pray that we don't have to type in the comma. Because 2300.02, we don't know the difference between that and 2300.02. We don't know the difference. What is it?
952,000.
952,000?
920,000.
Okay, we got 952,000 and we got 920,000.
Yeah.
Which one is it? All I've heard so far is rah, 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 rah. Okay, I need somebody to enunciate and have some volume behind their voice.
952,000.
Okay, I got 2 people saying 952,000.
3 people.
Okay, good. Y'all are starting to catch on. Oh, I didn't put a parentheses. And somebody plug in, what's the other one? 50. Somebody plug in 50 right now. Something is wrong. There we go. Somebody plug in 50 for the next one. Okay, something is wrong. Why did my...
It's what's on top.
Oh, right there.
238,000.
Hold on a second. I got to get rid of the fantastic. And what'd you get?
238,000.
238,000.
Because you multiply it by 50, but then you divide it by 50.
Yep. Now, just for giggles, somebody plug in 0. Well, you plug in 0, you're going to get 0. I hate to tell you all that, but I did that so fast because I'm smart. Okay? Well, if you plug in 0, what does it give you up top?
0.
0 divided by 100 is 0. I told you about my neighbor with the calculator. I had a neighbor. She called me up. She said, I'm irritated. I said, well, I'm Hubert. She said, what? She said, I'm mad. Come up here right now. So I get in the truck and I go up the road. And I thought, the hot water heater busted or something. I thought something crazy. She said, come in here and fix this calculator. I said, why? Well, she bought it for her son. It was in like the 6th, 7th, 8th grade, whatever, wherever you start to use calculators. And she said, we're doing this homework problem, and I keep typing in 1 to the 29th power, and it keeps giving me 1. How would you handle that? Somebody want to take a stab at it? How would you handle that? JC, you run into people like this at Eagles, don't you?
Yeah.
There's some people out there that shouldn't have a driver's license, okay? How do you tell your neighbor that they're dumb as a post? You know, how do you tell them that? Anyway, when you plug 0 in, you get 0. So the range is from 0. And what happens when you plug in 99? Somebody plug in 99. Tell me what you get. Actually, you could type in 99.99, but we're not going to do that. 23 million?
562,000.
So even?
Yes, sir.
And we'll put ish because you can say 99.99-ish. You can put 99.99 in there and get a little bit larger than 23,562,000. So that's our range from 0 to 23 million, 24 million. Okay? Bernie Sanders paycheck. How many homes does Bernie Sanders have?
There's a few, doesn't it?
You know what Harry Truman said about politicians? If you come out of politics rich, you're crooked. That's all I'm going to say. All right, so did we get that answer correct? All right. So, does everybody feel good about their homework questions now? That's 1.1. I have no idea. Let me look at your outline. We just did some 1.1 questions. Let's look at some 1.2s. Let me see what time it is, so some of y'all don't have cardio infarctions. Yeah, we're good. We're good for about 15 minutes. Let's look at some of the questions in the other section of homework. Just see if we covered it. Let's see, TCTC dot.
Not those. There's some people who watch about that.
And y'all 109, right? Pull up Oconee campus. Let's pull up assignments. I don't see assignments. And pull up 1.2. And let's look at a few of the questions and let's see if because I covered quite a bit of review for y'all the other day. Okay, we covered this. That's basically chart plot method. You want me to do question 6? Be glad to. That one right there? Okay, first of all, look at your parent graphs. Everybody look at your parent graphs. Which function is this? It's going to be an x cubed function. All right, the x cubed function looks like what? Looks like that, right? So which one is it not?
A.
Okay, it's not A. And it's not what? D. So now you got a 50-50 shot at it. But I would highly suggest that you pull up your handy-dandy calculator and you look at it, and you're going to have to look for what's called hidden behavior. Write this down, hidden behavior. Because some of these questions are going to ask for the hidden behavior, and this might not be one of them, but that's where you need to use the zoom feature on your calculator. Or you can look at these, magnifying glasses and pull them up. Well, I guess you can keep, yeah, there we go. It pulls it up. I like that. That's new. What does this paper right here mean? What is that?
Oh,
Oh, that's where you blow it up like that. I like that too. That's new. For those of y'all that don't know, these buttons here, those are new. So you can pull this one up and look there. And it looks like it crosses at the origin and comes down. The lower extreme is, or the min is 0. The max is 0. The min is -1 at -1, -2. So you might want to write that down. All right, now let's go to the other one and see where it crosses. And this is what you need to be doing when you're looking at these. Russians. Now this one, see, the min here is 0, and the max is what? -1, +2. So you write those two things down, and now we go to our handy dandy calculator. And you pull up your handy dandy calculator. Does anybody remember what this was? Anybody remember the function? Good. Y is equal, you get y is equal to what? 4x what cubed?
Plus 6x squared.
Plus 6x squared. Enter and graph. And of course there it is, and now you see you don't even have to blow it up. Which one is it? It's the one that's on the board right now, whichever one that one is. So this is a calculator drill. Calculator and deduction. Y'all know what deduction is, right? That's all right. That's all right. You don't have to interact with me. That's fine. So the answer is Charlie. There's another part.
Yep.
State whether the graph has a turning point. Yes, it has 2 turning points. How do you know that? What's 3 minus 1? 2. Write that down. 3 minus 1 is equal to 2. So that's how many turning points it's got. Where does the 3 come from? From the cube. You do that with functions. You take the highest degree, and you minus 1. And that's how many turning points you got. So this one has 2 turning points. It's got a min and a what? A max. In this case, we read from left to right. The max is on the left. The min is on the right. The min is at 0, 0. The max is at -1, +2. So I don't know what they're asking for. They're just 2. They're probably going to ask you for the points next.
That's it.
2. Well, my number lock, every time I go on a question, it turns off, so damn Russians. The graph has a turning point in this window. The turning point is ordered pairs. I'm not typing all that in. I ain't got time in class to do that, so I'm just going to type in 2 again, and then it'll give us the answer of what I said, 0, 0, and what I say, -1 and what, 2? And no offense, I did that by just looking at the graph. You don't even need a calculator for that. Okay? So what is this? This is a calculator drill question and a simple properties question. The simple properties, always look for hidden behavior and always look for the turning points, the max and the min, which is 3 minus 2, which is 2. You have 2 turning points. Okay? So calculator drill, being able to use your calculator, hidden behavior, and max and min / turning points. Is this a test question? Yes. 3 or 4 of these could be on your test. Why did I give you 3 or 4 of these? Because I like you. If you miss these, then you don't what? You don't tell anybody. Okay? Did that help? All right. And let's go ahead and let's go ahead and look at one more. Anybody got a preference? Find appropriate viewing. Okay, these right here, let's go ahead and write these down. Write that question down right there. I don't care for these questions. Okay? So I will not put these on a test. If I do, it's accidental. The reason I don't put these on a test is, what do you hit if you want to see the whole thing? Zoom what? Come on. Y'all don't know. I thought y'all were on the calculator drill team in high school. Don't they make y'all use calculators in high school? Don't y'all have to name them and like carry them around on your belt and, you know, twirl them around on a basketball like your basketball on your finger? I thought they did that in high school. Make y'all use them so they'll have to teach. What do you hit? You hit zoom what? Standard. Hit zoom and then 6. And that usually puts it where you can see it. If you need to hit zoom calculate, you hit zoom and then, or fit, you hit fit. Go down, I think it's 0. And I'm not even on the calculator drill team. I don't even have one. Zoom fit will put it, sometimes it makes it a little bit bigger, see? So, do you really, and then the best one, the one that I use most of all, is zoom window. I grew up on CAD, so I call it zoom window. I'm sorry. And I'm going to go to the farthest left, and I'm going to go up. Oops, sorry, I went the wrong way. Y'all look for my little cursor. See the little cursor blinking? I'm going to go to the far left over here, and I'm going to hit enter. And then I'm going to make sure I cover both intersections and make a box. And then when I make that box and I got both intersections into play, I hit enter and it makes, and for some reason it's not showing the way it's supposed to. So then you go back and hit zoom standard or zoom fit or zoom standard. Do zoom standard. What was that standard? 6?
6.
Okay, zoom 6. There we go. Let me do it. Zoom window, that's what I use, zoom box. And I'll go up, and I'll go to the left, and I'll make a box around just the humps, and hit enter. There we go. So really, the windows is kind of obsolete. You can use the zoom feature and it'd be a whole lot quicker, especially if you learn how to use it. So I really don't like these questions, but you can do them, and all you need to do is just type in the answers and then you figure out which one it is, because there's no way you're going to sit there and go, x cubed plus 3x squared minus 45x. Looks like I think I'm going to use a window of -90 and 0. Come on, really? You're going to sit there and be able to do that in your head? No. You're going to type these in until you get the right figuration. So those questions, I really don't like those questions. And I'm going to go ahead and shut it down. Y'all go ahead and pack up now, because I wouldn't